if you are working with thin margins and if it is a very and highly competitive market, then you have to have the best technology. Otherwise, you can't really make a difference. That's why when we were talking with business units, we have realized that they don't even know what kind of problems can be solved with technology. That's why identification is the key part. Finding those goals and opportunities is the key for businesses.
I want to hear more about what you're doing now, but let's kind of go back. Like, what's that like, right? You're in an engineering role, you're building, you're innovating, you're doing things that seem creative. What is it like to get tapped on the shoulder and say, like, hey, will you go do innovation? Did it feel different? Did it feel clear,
Actually,
like what you were
yeah,
being asked to do?
actually, it wasn't really clear at all. I mean, I was in the first place, I thought that this is more of a technological role than a business development role, but eventually it was the reverse. I mean, we had to communicate more, more on the problems, more on the issues, more on the opportunities, more than technology, because uh, at the core of the innovation, the most important ingredient is the problem. When you catch that, then you can try one technology over the other. You can find one startup or the other and try to solve it. But eventually, we were keep digging with a spoon. I mean, it was the hardest part. I didn't expect that. We were keep talking with business units and the other stakeholders in a very large organization, more than 30,000 people. You were keep trying to find the gold and the best in class problems, or best in class well defined problems, or opportunities inside the organization. It was really hard. I didn't
Well,
expect that part.
it is hard, right? I mean, for the in the startup community, I think we often are trained to think in terms of problems or customer pain, like highly iterative attempts to solve these classic problems. But it is actually really interesting how hard it can be, I think, in larger organizations to step back and say, wait, like, what are we really trying to do here? Right? What are we really trying to solve for? And it is kind of an important first ingredient for innovation.
Yes, yes.
How did you go about that? Like, what did you try and do, and what did you learn as you were working with business units across Maxitech?
Actually, to be honest, that's why we have created Entrapeer for that. But when you are inside this kind of a big organization, you realize that the majority of the business units, they only focus their business card, their performance card. And for instance, for a bank, it is selling more credit cards, giving more loans. These are the most the critical metrics for the business. If those are the keys, you don't really talk and think about the latest technology and the effects of it. But things have changed actually, uh, because the majority of the businesses are right now, they are working with very thin margins. And if you are
Yeah.
working with thin margins, and if it is a very and highly competitive market, then you have to have the best technology. Otherwise, you can't really make a difference. That's why when we were talking with business units, we have realized that they don't even know what kind of problems can be solved with technology.
Yep.
That's why identification is the key part. Finding those goals and opportunities is the key for businesses.
I think of that as inspiration and kind of understanding the art of the possible, right? Like, we can all dream about science fiction, right? The magic of AI or tech being able to solve anything. And at the limit over time, that's probably true. But I think in the meantime, there is a bit of a gap in terms of, really being able to wrap your head around, like, what is the limit of what technology can do for me today? Um, I don't know. I run into that all the time. And one of my only answers to that is like, hey, go talk to some builders, go talk to some startups that are operating in your space and just see what's on their mind. And I think, I don't know, I think that's fun, but there's probably also more structured answers to that, right? Um, how do you expose your partners, your stakeholders to the art of the possible?
You're 100% right. There are, possibilities and, priorities, and also the realities. Um, when you consider all these, unknowns in the equation, you realize that technology is really capable. Today, we try all these AI models, all these, new technologies, but when you go and talk with some of the enterprises that we work with, their main problem is still within their own world, and they have their
Yeah.
own regulations, they have their own limitations. Let me tell you, we were working with one of the best humanoid robot in the world. I mean, we're trying to integrate with one of the banks, and the guy in the IT department, they asked me why they didn't think about to integrate with a bank. Why didn't make it really easy to integrate with a bank? I got really shocked. I mean, how they can imagine that they can use this robot in a bank, and they can come up with a very frictionless solution to integrate with the bank's backend system. It's not a even a thing for the industry. I
Right.
mean,
You're a robotics designer. Like, right. What are you thinking about with like financial regulations, security protocols, et cetera?
they just create a journalistic platform, and then this is our job, by the way, to fix all these. And but yeah, that is bank's reality. You have to figure out the regulations, rules, all the systems, all the archaic codes and everything. Some of the codes, even people are working more than on these codes more than 40 years, 50 years. Some COBOL codes are even they are older than me. You have to consider all these realities.
Yeah.
Yes, technology is promising, but there's a reality. There are some investment they have already done. I mean, the accumulation of the experiences is huge in there. We have to respect that. I mean, we can't
Yeah.
really say that all these are dinosaurs. No, no, no. That there are some big investments in there. I mean, if you sit on that chair, probably you can't really make that decision easily. Let me tell you one funny thing. Before we start Entrapeer, we made a really huge market research all around the world, and none of them were our customers, and we didn't even know them. We asked them directly, why you can partner with startups? What is the main reason behind that? And they all told us that risk is the number one factor. They
Yep.
can't partner with a startup because it is too risky to match that brand, match that all the accumulation with a really small company, because they can easily change their path, but all these brands will stay in there, and their foundation is solid, and they have to keep that foundation as a whole with all the systems and everything.
It's a real barrier. And it's interesting because, you sense sort of that hunger. There's a hunger to partner with innovation, partner with startups, new ideas, but there's a barrier.